It's difficult to say what will happen if Brexit will be accomplished, because we don't know quite what is meant by Brexit. But in the next 2 years, if Theresa May succeeds in getting her negotiated deal through, there will be a transition period, and I should imagine that after that Britain will have a free trade agreement with the European Union, and then we will be much more separated from the European Union. But there are other countries that are separated, like Switzerland and Norway, and we'll just be a little bit different to them, if all goes well. I think most economists in the United Kingdom thought that Brexit was a bad idea. Although we had concerns about the European Union, we thought it was the best compromise and the best solution to a very difficult set of economic and political questions that are important in Europe. And therefore, virtually no economist wanted Britain to leave the European Union. But there's been a referendum. We have to leave the European Union. And so the question is, how do we leave the European Union in a way which satisfies the voters but does the least economic damage? I'm not an expert on political things, but my understanding is that there has not been a large movement in the opinion polls. If the opinion polls had changed, for example, to 70% remain, 30% leave, then one could make a strong case for a second referendum. At the moment, it is still very evenly divided, so I think there's no political reason for a second referendum. I think Britain has a different view about how economies work to the continental model of France and Germany and Italy, and Britain has sometimes been able to marshal the forces of smaller countries who are sympathetic to Britain's view. I think in that sense, the European Union could be disadvantaged by not having the British perspective on how markets work. On the other hand, I have to admit that Britain has sometimes been a nuisance in Europe, and it may be easier politically for other European countries to move ahead towards the goal of ever closer union if that is what they want.